What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. And as you can see in my house, Christmas isn't canceled. In today's video, I'm going to take you through a tutorial on how to use MyFitnessPal app, which is a calorie counting app that's going to help you to track your calories and help you monitor your progress so that you can achieve your fitness goals this year. I don't care what people tell you, but if your goal is to lose weight or maintain weight, you do need to be tracking your calories. Even if you're trying to bulk up, you have to be tracking calories, you have to be weighing out your food, and you can't just go based on these food labels because they're not 100% accurate. This app is a great tool for you to use to monitor that and help you reach your fitness goals. I know it's difficult now with the pandemic going on and with gyms closing down and us probably being a little bit more inactive than when we were before, and most of us are probably even bored eating, which is where I find myself sometimes too. So if you're not tracking your calories, it is very easy for you to start overeating. The problem with that is you start overeating, you're taking in more calories than your body needs for that day. So you continue to do that over a progression, and your body's going to start to store those extra calories as fat. And that's when we start to gain weight. Conversely, if you start to burn off more calories than you're taking in, then now you're forcing your body to tap into those energy reserves and start using that for energy. So being able to monitor how many calories are going into your body versus how many calories are going out is going to be the key for you to reach your fitness goals and your nutrition goals this year. So I want to help you do that today in my video. So stay tuned as we take you through this tutorial and using MyFitnessPal. So let's get started with the video. So we're just going to open up the app, and if it's your first time using it, you'll have to go and set up your profile, which you can always change afterwards and set up your goals afterwards. But if you're looking at the bottom of the screen here, this is where we're going to be accessing all the different features within MyFitnessPal. So we're going to start over here at the end at More and click on that. And here again, you can go under your profile, you can set your goals, look at your nutrition. We're going to get to My Meals. So we're going to start by going to Goals. And over here on the right, you can see that we have our starting weight, which is when I first logged into the app. And we have my current weight, which is what I've actually weighed myself with this morning. And this is a great way to connect with your smart scale if you have one. You can set your goal weight and your weekly goal and activity level. These are all going to change and affect what happens over here with your calories, carbs, protein, and fat goals. So if we end up clicking on that, here we can set up what we actually want to be setting our calories at for the day. And it'll actually automatically calculate it, but you can always adjust it if you want it lower, if you're trying to lose weight or if you're trying to bulk up or whatever. And here you have the different percentages of breakdowns, which can be adjusted. If I just click on one of them like carbs, I can actually move that up and down to set it at whatever I like. And obviously all the different breakdowns should equal 100%. So you can, if you want like more of a higher carb diet, lower fat, lower protein, again, you can adjust it. Don't get caught up on the percentages. My main goal, focus on calories and obviously making sure that you're getting your protein in. The carbs and fat kind of fall where they do. We'll just check that off. It's going to save. We'll go to the back arrow over here. At the bottom over here where we have food diary. So if we click on that, that's going to be our entry for our day. And you can actually set up how the meals are going to be named. Right now I have breakfast, and if I scroll, you can see this post-workout, meal 2, meal 3, dinner, and then snack. So if you do want to change what those names of those meals are, you can go back here to More at the bottom, and you can go under Settings, and you can click on Diary Settings. It says Customize Meal Names. So you can click on that and actually change what meal 1 to 6 is, or if you want takeaway meals and so on. Here we're going to go to our food diary, and if we want to add in food for a specific meal, we can go under here under meal 2 and click on add food. And there's obviously two ways that we can add food into our diary. Number one would be to type it in, like if I'm eating chicken breasts. And if you know where it's from, like if it was from Costco, for example, then you can click on that one and you can put in the weight. You can always adjust it if you want it per 100 grams, per ounces, per gram. I usually like keeping it as grams. And we'll say you had a 250 gram chicken breast. Again, this is raw. This is not cooked. Cooked will give you different nutritional breakdowns, so that's something to consider. It's always a good rule of thumb to kind of measure your food raw, but if I click on the check mark and then the check mark at the top right, you can see that it has now been added in. And if I click at the very top over here where I have my goals, my food, it actually calculates your exercise because it can connect with your smartwatches and deduct based on the exercise that you do and then what's remaining. But if I click on that, you can see my macro breakdown. You can go based on nutrients or calories for each specific meal. But if I go back to macros, I can actually see where all my carbs were coming from. So obviously didn't put anything in any other food, but it's obviously all in breakfast right now. But if I go this, I could do the same thing for fats, and I can click on protein and do the same thing for protein and see how much protein I'm having in each meal, which is down at the bottom here and broken up for you in different colors. Okay. So what I want to show you is kind of how things can actually change based on food labels. Food labels are not always 100% accurate, and that's why it's important to weigh out your food. Now, as I said, there's two ways to add food. You can obviously type it in the search bar, or go to cancel and you can actually click on the barcode and actually scan the barcode of an item if it does have it. And that will actually reflect what's on the nutritional label. I haven't run into too many issues where that food is not there, and if it is, you can always just add it in or add it to your foods. All right, as I mentioned, that using a scale is going to help you to be the most accurate. And a lot of you are probably thinking, well, I look at food nutrition labels and that pretty much tells me what I need to know. And I'm going to show you and prove to you how nutrition labels, they lie to you, or they're not giving you the full accuracy, because it is hard to be exact with everything that you are going to be measuring, unless you have a scale. So here are some of the more popular ones. We have like a One and a Quest bar. I've recently tried the Built bar. They're pretty good. And I thought I'd pick up this one, even though it is probably the worst one out of all of them, but that's left for another video. So the One bar, we'll start with this one, is actually supposed to be, as you can see on the label here, if you can see that clearly, it is supposed to be 60 grams and the nutritional label is reflecting 60 grams. Now it obviously is in the wrapper, so maybe we'll say the wrapper weighs like a gram. But if I put it on the scale, it's showing that it weighs 64 grams. The wrapper does not weigh 4 grams. So this is actually more calories than what you're actually going to be taking in. So this says 220 calories for 60 gram bar. So this is more calories. So that's one example. Do the same thing with the Quest bar. This is again saying a 60 gram bar is 210 calories. So if we weigh this one out, it's a little bit closer. We're at 62 grams again. We have the Built bar here. This one is, I believe, for 55 grams, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to put that on, and that's actually spot on. So the bar that I really wanted to get to was this one here, because I already knew it was going to be a little bit of an issue. But we have this bar, which is showing at 85 grams for the bar. So that's the serving size of the bar. It has 380 calories. There's 19 grams of fat and 26 grams of protein. So if I weigh this out, put it on the scale, it's showing 99 grams for the bar. Even if it's 98 because the wrapper weighs a gram. That is still way over 85. Okay, you're talking an extra 40, 50, maybe even 60 calories difference for the bar. Okay, so that's one example where, again, food nutrition labels, you can't always go based on that. Next up, let's do some rice cakes. Okay, these are very popular. A lot of people like to have them. So this is showing for 13 gram serving size. Okay, so each rice cake should be 13 grams. So I have two here just to show the difference between each one. So I have one here that is weighing in at 17 grams, a little bit more than 13. And this one here is weighing in at 14 grams, a little bit closer to 13. So you can see the difference even just between the two cakes. They look exactly the same. They feel exactly the same, but obviously one is going to have more calories than the other. I have these English muffins. Okay, so this is for one English muffin is 57 grams. Okay, and it's showing 140 calories. Let's weigh one of these out and see what we get. So we're at 63 grams. Okay, so again, going over what the actual serving size for one English muffin is going to be. So you think that you're only getting 140 calories, but in actuality, you're getting more. So here I have two of my favorite wraps that I like to use. So I have Joseph's and I have these protein up, carb down wraps. So it's always important that you're weighing them out. So let's start with the protein up here. We have 57 grams is supposed to be one flatbread, and one flatbread is 120 calories. So let's take one of these out and weigh it. All right, so here's one flatbread of our protein up. It's supposed to be 57 grams. So let's put this on top of the scale. And it's pretty close. It's actually at 58. I've gotten some where they're at like 60, 61. So again, usually it's a little bit more heavier. So let's try the Joseph's Lavish bread. And I mean, I really like using these here so you can see how big they are. You can put a lot of stuff in there too. So this is showing 83 grams for one flatbread. How much is it supposed to be? Well, this is actually giving you the calorie breakdown for half a Lavish bread, which is supposed to be 32 grams. So if we do a full one, it's supposed to be 64 grams. Even if it was 64 grams, that's 120 calories. This is actually going way over 64 grams. So how do we compensate for that? I'm going to quickly show how you can calculate using these nutrition labels and MyFitnessPal to get an accurate reading of how much calories you're putting into your body. All right, so in MyFitnessPal, let's use the Joseph's bread to show how you can actually calculate it accurately and put it into your MyFitnessPal. So if we go to meal 3, we're going to add the food. We're going to scan the barcode, and once we do, we get this. So I can actually go to the top here and change it from half a Lavish, because if I'm going to have the whole one, to a full one, and it's obviously going to double everything and show 120 calories. But we know that one Lavish is not 64 grams. We know that it came out to 83. So how can we add that in, especially when we have this situation? So I quickly just flip and go to my calculator, and I put the weight of what the actual Lavish weighed, and I'm going to divide that by what it's supposed to be, which is 64 grams. And I get this. So you can actually put up to 3 decimal places in MyFitnessPal. But if I were to round this, it's about 1.297. So I am actually going to go back to MyFitnessPal. If you want to put 1.3, you can, because you know it will be a little bit more. Maybe good to overcompensate for some, but I know it was 1.297. You can actually go up to 3 decimal places in MyFitnessPal. So once I put that in, it automatically changes everything: the protein, the carbs, the fat, and the calories. Remember, it was 120 calories, and now it's 156. So a difference of 36 calories, okay? And we can simply put the check mark in, and it'll automatically put that in as well. So now that I've put that in, it's a very simple strategy that you can use if you ever see something that you can't actually put the grams in. It's only saying like 1 rice cake or 1 Lavish or 1 protein bar. And you can always do these calculations to help you get the most accurate result when it comes to that. So let's quickly talk about what happens when you actually create a meal. Sometimes a lot of you are following these recipes online and you don't actually know how much 1 peanut butter cup is, or 1 protein bar, or a portion of the syrup that you make. Go to my video to watch it, or a portion of my blueberry jam or strawberry jam that you make. How do you know how much a portion of that actually is in calories? So I'm going to show you quickly how to do this, and it changes everything. So we're going to go down to more, and we're going to go over here to my meals, recipes, and foods. Okay. Now I already have a bunch of meals that I've already put in here, but I'm going to show you how you can use a meal as a way of calculating a portion of whatever it is that you eat. So I'm actually going to scroll down here, and you can see a bunch of my recipes that I have actually already put in here, but I'm going to do this coming up in my next video, which is going to be my protein bars. We're going to say we use this one here, which is the cookies and cream protein bar. Okay. Now I obviously label it at the title. So if I go down to the bottom and edit it, you can actually change the name of it. I put the total amount of whatever it is that I made, that I got out of my batch, in the title. So this way I know the total amount of what it weighed. That's going to be super important to calculate this. Okay. So I have all of my ingredients that I've put in there. This is calculating at the top the total amount of calories, carbs, fat, and protein for the entire batch. Let's say that after I've broken up my protein bars, each one is going to be weighing a little bit different. Some of them will weigh 70 grams, others will weigh 80 or 90 grams. So obviously I want to make sure that if I'm eating a bigger bar that day, how much of this, the portion of this, is going to actually calculate for my carbs, fats, protein, and obviously my calories. So simply, this is why having the total weight for that entire batch is going to be very important. So again, I'm going to go here and I am going to calculate, going over to my calculator. So remembering 630, because that was how much the total batch weighed. And let's say that my protein bar weighed 78 grams. What I do is I take my 78 grams, so the weight of the bar, and I divide it by the total amount of the entire batch. And that was 630 grams. And I get a decimal number. Again, usually I do 3 decimal places, so of 0.12, and I'm going to round that up to 4. So 0.124. I'm going to remember that number, and I'm going to go back to MyFitnessPal. And over here, you say number of servings is 1. So if I click on that, take that away, and use my decimal number that I just used of 124 and push the check mark, it is automatically going to break down for that portion of that protein bar that I weighed for 78 grams. It automatically calculates everything for me. And I have 215 calories, about 35 grams of carbs, about 2 grams of fat, and 27 grams of protein. If I go to check mark, I can add where I want to put it, whether it's snack, dinner, meal 2, meal 3, post-workout, breakfast, or so on. Okay, so if I do put that in my snack, I can click on that, click the check mark, and it automatically uploads the fraction of that amount. It's a very simple strategy, it's a very simple way of calculating. I can do it the other way, where if I go back here to home and I go to my food diary, and let's say for my snack I had that protein bar, I can go over here at the top to meals, and I can scroll down to find again my protein bar, which is right here. Okay, this is why it's so important to weigh out everything in total what you made. So again, 630, that is the total batch of all the protein bars I made for that batch, and the total weight, I already know after I calculated for a 78 gram bar, it came out to 0.124. I can push check mark, and if I push check mark again at the top, it's going to automatically populate that portion of calories for that meal. Okay, and I can do that for every food or meal that I have if I know that I'm not going to be eating that full amount. Okay, so if I made some protein cookies, again, you can see the grams that are there. My caramel sauce. So again, after I make my caramel syrup, I weigh it out. I pour it into the jar, and I'm weighing it out, how much it actually weighs. So I know that if I'm going to have, for example, if after I pour it on my pancakes, I weigh it out, and it comes out to maybe 80 grams, I can go over here quickly to my calculator. I can put in, say that I used 80 grams, divide that by the total amount that the syrup weighed, which was 523, and I get 0.153. And I simply go back to MyFitnessPal. I put that into my serving size of 0.153. I can check mark that, and I can see how many calories that actually automatically calculates for me. So I hope that this tutorial was helpful and informative for you in setting up your meals and calculating your calories and macros, because you can't rely on nutrition labels to be accurate, and this is a great tool for you to use to monitor your calories in order to reach your fitness goals. My name is Lewis, this is Macro Matters, and don't leave any macro behind. We are young, we are free, down.